Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
What makes Yamato so interesting is how he played such a pivotal role in the raid on Onigashima while being introduced in such little time. He actively protected Momonosuke, opposed Kaido, and was Ace's old buddy. Not only that, he did all of those things in spite of being Kaido's literal child, which is what makes his decline to setting sail with the Straw Hats depressing, but highlights how popular his character is among those of us who watch One Piece. So today we're going to take a deep dive into the underlying reasons why Yamato is so well received by the One Piece community, as well as highlight the sides of him we may overlook, such as his ties to Oden, Ace, and Wano make him an essential part of the story that most fans, like myself, might have missed. Welcome to Yamato.
Kaido!
父上だろう。ヤマト。
Yamato's interesting parent-child estrangement. The American psychiatrist Murray Bowen once stated, "Emotional cutoff is the process of separation, isolation, and withdrawal that people use to manage unresolved emotional issues with parents." This quote alone explains the relationship between Kaido and Yamato perfectly. What makes Yamato so captivating in the raid on Onigashima was how he fought so hard to help the Straw Hat Pirates and idolized the samurai of Wano Kuni, while being the son of Kaido, the Emperor of the Sea. And although parent-child estrangement isn't a concept that's newly introduced into One Piece, what makes Kaido and Yamato's relationship different is that, in a way, it's driven purely on the backs of their ego. Yamato, after witnessing the death of Kozuki Oden, was fascinated by samurai culture and sought to beat Oden, quote-unquote, because of it. Kaido, having once feared Oden on the battlefield and sought to rule over Wano, was opposed by Oden, although he respected him as a warrior. So for Yamato to seek to be a samurai of Wano Kuni, this caused Kaido to become very cold to his own child. And Yamato, being young and inspired, saw this suppression of her desires as antagonistic towards who he was as a person. The more Yamato sought to help the people of Wano, the more Kaido sought to crush those dreams on the spot, leading Yamato to be more resentful of Kaido, although Kaido still sees Yamato as his child, and ultimately wants him to become the shogun of Wano in his master plan. What can also be highlighted is Kaido's authoritarian style of parenting. Kaido, coming from a background of brutality and violence, only knew how to deal with Yamato in one way: brutally. This made Yamato strong as a warrior, but traumatized as a child, confining him to change his entire life, never leaving the castle of Onigashima, starving him of food, even executing those who sought to help Yamato, which is what makes their clash so interesting, because even while fighting, Kaido still assumes the parent position when speaking to Yamato, saying things like, "Things aren't that simple," when answering Yamato's opposition to his plan, and even weeping while drunk when he acknowledges their toxic relationship. When we see this fight, Yamato and Kaido isn't a battle between two strangers who happen to be related, but a deeply toxic parent-child relationship reaching its climax.
おい、どうしたヤマト。
僕は笑わないよ。
What makes Yamato so interesting is his surprisingly relevant backstories and associations. While Yamato could easily slip into the plot while being introduced so late into the Wano Kuni arc, was his ability to bring characters we already know back into the picture, as well as introduce further plots and lore. The first semblance of this was Yamato coming across Ace, the Whitebeard commander who is Luffy's brother, and whose capture sparked the Paramount War, and whose death sent shockwaves into the One Piece world, and progressed Luffy as a character. For Yamato to come across Ace, not only was it nostalgic, but further shows how much ally she is to the Straw Hat. What can be highlighted as well was their common trauma of living in the rear view of their father's notoriety. Ace, questioning the meaningfulness of his own life, being the son of the king of the pirates, and Yamato, questioning the fulfillment of her dreams of setting sail and becoming like Oden. Also his ties with Shimotsuki Ushimaru, the daimyo of Ringo, the providence of Wano, and him being the descendant of the god of the blade, Shimotsuki Ryuma, a legendary samurai of Wano, who once fought Zoro, who is heavily implied to have ancestral ties to this legendary clan. This extends the lore behind Zoro and highlights anything further to come. Also, reading the personal journal of Oden and deeply understanding his story to a T. Because of it, Yamato has intertwined his own identity with Oden, which is why he is so willing to help Momonosuke in becoming the shogun while just meeting him once. This shows how he was a secret ally waiting to cross paths. And as well as being the son of Kaido, the Emperor of the Sea, the Straw Hats came to defeat. Yamato didn't just slip into the story seamlessly, but progressed it, which is what made the raid on Onigashima feel like its own arc itself, cohesively attaching all the events and battles of Onigashima, which made it feel like a movie.
お
前カイドウの息子って言ったよな。光月おでんは男だろ。だから僕は男になった。
Yamato's prideful-like association. What makes him such an interesting character is he is actually a she. Now, One Piece is known to have characters sway towards same team players, for instance Kiku of the Akazaya or Bon Clay. But he is so obviously a she, it can make us wonder if we are reading the subtitles right. Yes, subtitles. Now, this association of Yamato being a male to him wanting to be exactly like Oden, and we know what he is. However, this quote-unquote prideful presence to address himself can show that anime in general is moving towards a more inclusive cast of characters, one where old prejudices of what people like to address themselves don't exist anymore. Even Yamato's nature is very tomboyish in style as he moves throughout the show. Personality of being very outgoing, confident, and strong helps as well.
僕はお腹が空いてたんだ。金槌になるなんて。
Yamato's strength and Devil Fruit powers rock immensely. Yamato carries the power of the Ino Ino no Mi model Okuchiki no Makami fruit. It's a devil fruit that gives her the ability of the legendary guardian wolf of Wano. He can transform into a literal dog, like Kaido can turn into the Azor dragon, taking on humanoid-like forms with this devil fruit and use ice elemental attacks. What can be noted is how Yamato obtaining this fruit is rather symbolic. Unlike Logia and Paramecia, zone-type devil fruits are said to have a will of their own, which means they can choose their own devil fruit user. The fruit of the guardian wolf of Wano being wielded by someone whose only ambition is to serve the country of Wano isn't coincidental, but through fate. At the end of the day, Yamato is a character highly liked, while his time accompanying the Straw Hats is very short. However, he highlights the realities of parent-child estrangement. His associations make him seamlessly flow right into the plot. His prideful associations progress as anime, and he is strong. This not just makes him popular among One Piece, but has fans wondering if we'll see more from Yamato. But that's what I think. If you think different, let me know down in the comments. Once again, my name is AOI-KUN, and this was my synopsis.